How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm good, man.
I get it too.
That's one big chief bear.
Yeah, you should see what you look like up there. I like it.
Documents coming in at 11:30.
Rich, see you. Good to see you. Good to see you, Don Michael. I know, she told me. She's a fish night, and she's a man. What the hell are you doing now? Can breathe.
This might be on.
Pretty good counter.
Boy, isn't that, it's not any fun right now.
Hello? How are you? He wants to meet you.
Madam Chair,
Good afternoon, Ben. Is that you, Ms. Brown?
that's me. Sorry, I'm just, yes, I'm here.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you. Then we'll officially call the meeting to order. It is 1 o'clock, and Oklahoma County Criminal Justice Authority special meeting is now officially called to order. One or more of our members is participating by video or teleconference. Should the audio or video capabilities be lost during the meeting, efforts to restore the connections will be attempted for a maximum of 30 minutes. If connectivity is unable to be restored, the meeting will reconvene at a date, time, and place certain determined by the board. I think we're fine to go ahead and go along. Would you please call the roll call?
Kevin Calvi,
Here?
P. Taylor,
Honeycutt, President for Taylor.
Francis Eberekwu,
Present.
Ben Brown,
Here?
Todd Lamb, M.T. Berry,
Present.
Jim Couch,
Here.
Chairwoman Tricia Everest,
Present.
Sue Ann Arnall,
Thank you very much. We have quorum. For those that wish, let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under
under
God,
indivisible,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The notice of the meeting was properly posted on Thursday, June 25th. Item number 1, discussion and possible action to set time, date, and place. Some of these are time-sensitive contracts, so I would confer that we, if need be, tomorrow at 1 o'clock. electronic meeting again.
Tomorrow at 1 o'clock?
You can't post it,
That's not possible.
can't be posted within 48 hours.
Well, this is just if we are technical difficulties.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
I mean, this is, if this meeting has to be convened further.
That's right.
Yes, okay.
Call the vote.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Thank you, Danny. And I appreciate you.
Kevin Calvi,
Aye.
Francis Eckler,
Yes.
Ben Brown,
Yes.
M.T. Berry,
Yes.
Jim Couch,
Yes.
Tricia Everest,
Yes.
Sue Ann Arnold. Yes. Danny Hennifer.
Yes.
The minutes have been sent out to us. I call for a motion to approve the minutes of the June 22nd meeting.
So moved?
So moved.
Mr. Berry, is that a
Second.
second? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any comments or questions? We can do electronic vote for those that are here. Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Calvi?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Couch?
Item 3 is a contract between the City of Oklahoma City and the Oklahoma City Detention Center for the housing of the municipal prisoners from Oklahoma City. It's the same contract it was on last week, and it's not substantially different from agreements that have been in the past 20 years.
Thank you. So the contract has returned in its original form as it posted to the last agenda, and I would call for a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Comments, questions?
I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
If you go to, yes, if you go to page 5 of the contract, under item number 9, services, number E is in Edward. The second sentence there says the county sure further agrees to provide. I think that should be the authority agrees to provide.
Thank you very much.
As amended?
And that's all I have.
Thank you. You move as amended, seconded by Mr. Couch. Any other comments, questions?
I just have one question. What's the term of this? Is it for a full year or 6 months? I was looking.
Full year.
Full year. Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner Calvi?
No.
Item number 4, similar to this, the last one that agreements that are happening right now for all the municipalities and for the different boarding services for the cities of Bethany and whatnot that would be occupying. This motion is to authorize the chair for the CEO as we begin operations to finalize these agreements. And Mr. Honeycutt, as I understand, most of these agreements are very similar and follow the order of the city.
Correct. The city contract historically has set the rate for the smaller.
So I'd call for a motion for approval.
So moved?
So moved.
Would that be a second, Mr. Berry?
Yes, ma'am.
Comments or questions? Call the vote. Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Calvi?
No.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
At our last meeting, Mr. Williams announced that we were able to pursue the workman's comp insurance policy at this time. It is on this agenda for the payment approval and for the approval of the policy, so. I request motion, call the motion.
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Comments, questions? Call the vote. Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Calvi?
Yes.
Mr. Brown? Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Item number 6, albeit the coverage was included at a late hour for the descriptions and stuff, Mark McCubbin and the groups that have helped to work with it, the Beckmans are present if you all have any questions. Otherwise, we're able to expand our liability coverage, auto, and for any others things that would have needed to be otherwise insured is under item number 6. And I'd call the motion.
And do we have a total on all three of those?
Mr. McCubbin is present, will be joining.
Yes, Mr. Honeycutt, the total for the 3 lines of coverage under agenda item number 6 is currently quoted at just under $296,000, $295,994.54.
Thank you.
Call the motion.
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Berry. Is there a second?
I'll second, with the understanding that it's for not to exceed $295,994.50 for, as provided by Deckham.
What do you need, sir?
Well, there's a company that we need to specify.
And the company is?
Well,
Actually, I can
that's
step
to
up.
that's to be determined.
So there are 3 lines of coverage under this proposal, under agenda item number 6. The first is from QBE, a specialty insurance company. That's for law enforcement liability coverage. The second is for public officials management and employment practices coverage, basically D&O coverage for the trust and employees. That's from Indian Harbor Company. And the third is business contents and automobile coverage, and that carrier is Hudson Insurance Company. So the recommendation from management is for insurance coverage provided by QBE, Indian Harbor, and Hudson Insurance Company, and perhaps we might consider at a cost not to exceed $300,000. The current quote is just under $296,000.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Williams and Mr. McCubbin. Any questions for Mr. McCubbin?
Mr. Berry's motion.
Mr. Berry, do you wish to amend your motion?
Amended as to what was just read to us. For what was just read by Mr. Williams.
So the motion, Mr. Williams?
And
Motion
this,
is to approve for an amount not to exceed $300,000.
it's suggested that the motion be, I move the approval of item 6 with insurance coverage provided by the 3 companies that were just described at a cost not to exceed $300,000.
So move.
Second.
Comments or questions? Hearing none, call the vote. Thank you for all of your hard work. This has been quite a learning process. Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner Calvi?
Yes.
Item number 7, it's my understanding that this has already been agreed and signed by the Board of County Commissioners. It was worked out in the process with the county and with Greg Williams and his team. And I move for approval on behalf of the authority.
Second.
Comments or questions? Hearing none, call the vote. Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Calvi?
Yes?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Item number 8, Mr. Honeycutt, you want to introduce?
Item number 8 is an agreement with Telmate or GTL to provide the inmate phone services. Currently, the county has a contract with Telmate that requires a 30-day out. This agreement just allows for Telmate to enter into a contract with the trust to provide those services at the same terms and conditions. And that 30-day out still a month-to-month. So I'd move the item.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions?
Madam Chair, may I ask a question, please?
Yes, Mr. Brown?
I'm not doing well at this end, but there's been a considerable amount of discussion, and frankly, my old age is kicking in, and I'm having a hard time even remembering the names. Is this the contract that Greg has recommended and is going to be down for the 19 cents per minute as opposed to the 25 cents per minute? Is this the new contract?
No, Mr. Brown, this is not. This is the current contract that has been in operation in the detention center, and it is essentially changing the parties to include the authority to be able to be a party to this contract while we continue the discussions otherwise.
Okay, and is this a 30-day contract?
It continues the terms at a 30-day basis. Is that-
Mr. Brown, if it's helpful, this is a month-to-month contract, and the provider that Mr. Williams had selected would not be available to begin on July 1 anyway, and so this ensures a continuity of operations. Is that fair, Greg?
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, are you prepared to vote now?
Yes, yes.
Did I ask everyone? Is there someone that didn't? Oh.
Mr. Calvi.
Commissioner Calvi
Yes.
and Mr. Berry.
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 9, call the motion.
Move for approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll second.
Thank you. I believe trustee Ecklewick would beat you to that, but thank you, Mr. Berry. Comments or
You're
questions?
very welcome.
Hearing none, I'll call the vote. Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Calvi?
Yes.
Mr. Brown? Item number 10 has the most updated invoice list for our meeting. Move approval? I'll move.
Second.
Comments or questions? Calling the vote. Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Calvi?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Thank you. Trustee Ekwatu, item number 11. Mr. Honeycutt, are you presenting on behalf of the detention center?
We've got Captain Bradley and Tammy Hill. Gene, if you'd like to come on down.
Thank you, Captain Bradley, for being present. Trustee Ekwatu, turn to you.
Hi, Captain Bradley. Thanks for being here. I'll, per usual, let you report to us, but one question in particular. I recently had a client who is not set to be sent to DOC. He's just awaiting pretrial. He has been there since January and said that he has not been offered the test and was told that he cannot have the test right now because you guys are moving through the DOC people first. I just want to know if that's true. And then if it's not true, how can we get the test to the people who want to be tested that are not set to be sent to DOC?
Yeah, actually, Tammy from Turnkey can probably talk a little bit more about that, but certainly the priority was the DOC to get those numbers down. And then Turnkey actually implemented testing for all new intakes, so we could monitor that. And then I think the plan, and she can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the plan now is they've got another 1,000 tests, and they're going to start testing everybody in the jail.
Do you know when that will start?
We're looking at beginning that on the 1st, the 1st of July. And to answer your question about the person that you were talking about that wanted the test, we started doing the test. I don't know when he was booked in. You said he was there since January?
Early January.
Right. Well, we weren't doing all of the testing that we were doing now. We initiated those in receiving in that area. So we haven't tested every single inmate that is in the jail. We're talking about getting that started, see if we can move through that and get the health department involved in that as well. We're kind of amping up just a little bit. Had a meeting with Mr. Williams about getting more testing done, testing available for staff, more PPE equipment, and provide that for not only the staff but for the inmates as well, masks and that sort of thing. So yes, he can have that test. We are going to be testing.
Okay. Is there a process in which he should follow to request that test?
If he puts in a sick call slip,
Okay.
we'll address him.
And have you guys gotten any updates on any new positive tests or anything since our last meeting? It's been like, what, a
We completed our
week?
tests for GOC. The 100 that we got back, we did not have any positives. We have 10 or 11 females that we tested. We did not have any positives with them as well. And DOC is aware of those tests and have the results.
And just to add to that, so where we're at to date is the initial list of 100 are complete. So we've sent 90 males to Department of Corrections, and this morning we sent 10 females to Mabel Bassett. So we'll be starting a whole list. And I know there was some confusion kind of through the works of all of this and getting things done to solve that problem. We kind of eliminated all the middlemen that were involved, and now Tammy is dealing directly with the infectious control nurse and the population management at DOC and the epidemiologist, so we're kind of out of the loop. She's doing all of that, getting the list, and knows who to test. So since we kind of put that in place, we've been moving pretty quickly.
Is the response time for results still 48 hours
Yes. It's 48 to 72 hours.
to 72? Okay. Thank you.
Do we have another 200 or so waiting to go to DOC?
We've got probably another 300 waiting
300?
to go to DOC.
And they'll be in the next test?
Well, I would imagine, have you got the new test? I mean, the new list? I would imagine they'll probably send us another list of 100. We'll work through those, and we'll just keep doing that until we get caught up.
Yeah, and that's part of the delay that we are talking about. When we get the test, we were told information that wasn't exactly accurate. We were told that we had to send them to the health department. And so we sent them to the health department. Well, after 4 or 5 days, and I don't hear anything from the epidemiologist, so what's going on? Why don't we have those tests back? So then we find out, no, don't send them there, just send them directly to me and to Sherry and DOC, so that she could look at them, and then she was going to send them over to the population pools. So there's a delay in a process time that it was pretty lengthy because we got misinformation from DOC.
Thank you. So Tammy and Captain Bradley, what is the status of PPE?
Currently, and I think emergency management is looking into this right now. So currently, every 2 weeks, we fill PPE orders, and those are stored down in detention admin. We're sitting pretty good. I've kind of shown Mr. Williams and Mr. Monday what they will have to start with, and they'll be way ahead of the ballgame. When I talked to emergency management, they weren't sure if the trust was going to be able to access those same PPE equipment. So they were looking into that. But I got you guys a huge quantity last Friday to get you guys started.
Now, at one point, emergency management, when I was working with them, that this is not at a cost to the county or to the sheriff's office.
Correct.
And then, are you also purchasing from the sheriff's office,
The
from
only
the county?
the only thing we're purchasing is gloves and some cleaning supplies. Masks, gowns, face shields are all being provided by emergency management.
Thank you. Are you purchasing on behalf of the,
Turnkey is purchasing masks, gloves. We've got the non-permeable gowns that they wear.
for
face
you all
masks
or for the staff?
For the staff,
No, I mean,
Not for
your
the in-
turnkey staff or the sheriff's staff?
turnkey staff. I mean, absolutely, if one of the officers need it, we have some, yeah, that's who we're purchasing for.
Thank you. Thank you for staying on top of it, Captain Bradley.
Chair Evers, I have one more question. I believe I heard recently that potentially a staff member tested positive. I want to know if that's true and what protocols were put into place, if that is true.
That is true. She immediately was sent home to follow up with her primary care physician, was given the COVID test. It was positive. There were 2 staff members that had direct contact with her. They were sent home, and they're on 14-day quarantine to also follow up with their primary care physician.
Okay, was that detected through, and it may not even be something you can reveal, but are you guys still taking temperatures of staff members?
We are.
Okay.
Yep.
Was that your question, though? How was it detected?
Yeah, I don't know that they can answer that, so, legally. So I will just rephrase.
Any other questions?
I think Mr. Ravitz had some more information regarding this. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Captain Bradley. Motion that we've received the report. Is there a second?
Second.
Comments or questions? Hearing none, call the vote. Mr. Berry,
Yes.
Commissioner Calvi,
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 12 from Greg Williams. So please note, trustees, that our CEO is wearing, you might have to turn for the camera, I don't know where the camera is, that they're able to see you. I think straight back by the clock. And this is the newest uniform. So, welcome, Mr. Williams.
Thank you very much.
Please give us your brief and candid report.
Yep, I have a very brief report. We are just excited about taking over the operations of the jail July 1, and we are preparing for that day in quite a detail. I've had town hall meetings all week, and I have had an opportunity to meet with a number of the current employees at the jail, and my sense is that the excitement is building. day to day, and I'm getting lots of suggestions and lots of ideas about some things that maybe we can do differently beginning July 1. So we are excited and look forward to that day. Thank you.
Greg, I just want to congratulate you on the team you've put together. It's been a pleasure working with each and every one of them.
Thank you,
So,
sir.
Thank you, Mr. Honeycutt. I don't have any items for number 13. Otherwise, call for the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Call the vote. Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner Calvi?
Yes.
Thank you all for your service. We're adjourned.